Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. Vijeta, come this side here and chant. We have done 8 verses, so up to 8. So first 8 verses we will chant. Om Shri
Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Trayodashodhyayah. Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha. Arjuna Vacha. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Kshetra Kshetrajnamaiva cha. Etad Veditumicchami. Jnanam Neyam cha Keshava. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Idam Shariram Kaunteya. Kshetramityabhidhiyate. Etadyo veti tam prahuhu. Kshetrajna iti tadvidah. Vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetrajnayorjnanam. Aitajnanam matam mama. Tatshetram yaccha yadrikcha. Yadvikari yataschayata. Sachayo yat prabhavascha. Tatsamasena me shrunu. ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं सङ्घातश्चेन तद्भिः एतत्क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारमुदाहृतम् अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसाक्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमत्मविनिग्रहः.
Good. So, we have done 2 values. Amanitvam is humility. Adambhitvam is no pretentiousness or false pride. The third quality is ahimsa. So ahimsa is what? Non-violence. So is non-violence, what level quality predominantly is non-violence? Is it body level, mind level, intellectual level? Which level predominantly is non-violence? Mind level. Why is it predominantly at mind level? So if thoughts come first, that's why it's at mind level. So I can be violent at body level, I can do. हाँ, तो फिर why is it not predominantly at body level? Physical level क्यों नहीं है? तो माइंड तो ट्रिगर्स एवरीथिंग नो, तो फिर तो सब कुछ माइंड लेवल की क्वालिटी हो जाएगी ना. नो डाउट माइंड ट्रिगर्स है, दैट इज करेक्ट, बट बट वो तो हिंसा हुई नहीं. सर्जन कटिंग यू और डूइंग एनीथिंग, वो तो हिंसा हुई नहीं, तो अहिंसा का मत सवाल ही नहीं आता वहाँ पे. करेक्ट, बोलो. देर आर सो मेनी. Give the mic. All of you use a mic so that people will hear you. Otherwise, they can't hear you. Cordless hai. There are rules and regulations at physical level. So ahimsa is not a physical quality.
No, like it's very hard to be like violent in the real world because
अरे इधर तो आराम से
No.
मार रहे चमाट फटाप सबको.
not
How much
because
violence people are doing. ऐसे टपले भी मार देते हैं, किसी को छुरा भी भोंक देते हैं, काट देते हैं गला, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं बाबा दुनिया में तो. And so you are saying because there are legal laws and police and army and all, so violence is not at physical level. Non-violence is more at a mental level. That's what you are saying.
so much is there on mental level though.
See, ahimsa, when we say, why it is predominantly at mental level? Because at physical level, ahimsa completely is not possible. Minimum himsa only is possible. Why it is not possible? Because the life subsists on life. There is no other solution there. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Bhagavatam says that, na? Life subsists on life. For us to live, we are consuming life. Even if we are eating plants, there is some life going. But it is minimum violence only that you can do. Complete ahimsa at the mind level is possible. Body level is not possible. Like many of you said, mentally, if I don't think of it, then physically it will not manifest. That is the reason why it is not predominantly at a body level. That doesn't give a license for anybody to do violence at the body level or a physical level. But we have to understand mentally it is possible. That we don't have intentions to hurt anybody, and then obviously then we don't go about doing it. So physically minimum violence is possible, and we should do that. We have to live by minimum violence. We cannot live by complete non-violence. It is just impossible. Even our breathing, there are so many small creatures getting destroyed. Ab kya karenge? When you are walking, you can't avoid that. One may try as much as one can. If one sees some creature and you don't step on it, that you can do. But our existence itself demands. Hence, ahimsa is predominantly at the mental level. Spontaneous, where there is love and oneness. Wherever I feel love, there will be ahimsa will be there. Where I see divisions, where I see selfishness, then one doesn't even think. One will do violence sometimes because their I is important. So this ahimsa is predominantly at mental level. So negative thoughts, wrong intentions, cunningness, etc. is all violence. And if one says, no, I only thought about it, I didn't do anything, but repeated thoughts will lead to action. So ahimsa is at a very deep level. In fact, a lot of spiritual evolution is required to practice ahimsa properly. At the mental level, then obviously at physical level. But we also have to remember that ahimsa is applicable at different levels, no doubt. So, karmana, at action level, we must not intentionally cause physical injury to any other living creature. As much as we are able to, we have to follow this. Vacha, at speech level, don't hurt people, insult, hurt, look down upon, condemn. So exercise self control over that. What our scripture says, no? Satyam vada, priyam vada, hitam vada. Speak the truth, speak politely, and speak only if it is beneficial. If it is not beneficial, don't speak. What is the point of speaking a truth if it is not going to benefit? One of the qualities of Bhagwan Ram is Mridu Bhashi. Mridu Bhashi means who speaks softly. Purva Bhashi, he will take initiative and he will speak. Mita Bhashi, he will speak in measured quantity. Not one word extra, not one word less. Sometimes people go on talking. What is the main point? One doesn't know. Just talk, talk, talk. So one has to be careful. This speech is the second largest consumer of energy. And the violence caused by speech is much more powerful than violence caused by the physical assault. In what sense? Physically, if I am injured, that it will heal soon. But verbally, how many times people relive that, na? Again and again and again, and then they go on hurting themselves more and more. Manasa, at the thought level, must be pure, well-wishing, noble thoughts. Ahimsa is practiced when we do not even wish ill for anybody. See, Bhagavan, when he even kills the asuras, he gives them mukti. Now, this has to be understood at karmana, manasa and vacha. Okay. But some places, ahimsa will become himsa. And himsa will become ahimsa. Which are those?
Like when our kings put down their weapons and did not, when our past few kings put down their weapons and did not fight to protect our country from the invaders, that was himsa, but it was ahimsa.
That was ahimsa.
Ahimsa, but
So very few kings have done that. I don't know if any names I remember. This has been taught to us. But if you see in our history, many kings have actually fought.
yes,
So much resistance we have given. That's why invaders have not been able to settle down so easily in this country. People have given enough sacrifices, but we have been taught the ulta. Some of them, yes, under the influence of Buddhism and wrong understanding of ahimsa, they have given up. There we have lost. Some of them have done that, but majority of them have fought back. So that is one correct interpretation.
even today, in the name of secularism, we allow way too much.
Correct. Hindus get massacred in so many places. So, just now it happened because of the movie. How much violence there in Nagpur? For what? So, the point here is where violence is required for self-defense, it is required. If there is no other solution and violence is the last resort, then it has to be done. There is no other way. Otherwise, its a example is like this. So active resistance to evil is also ahimsa. This is what Gita will say. Arjun wanted to run away from the battlefield. And Bhagwan tells him, no, you stay here and do your duty as a Kshatriya. You have to fight. So violence for self-defense is also ahimsa. Not fighting for self-defense is cowardice and himsa. So the body has a cancerous growth, and if there is no other solution and the part has to be cut. If somebody says, no, I will not cut this part of the body, that is himsa towards my body, then I will practice ahimsa. Then the whole body will die. So one has to be very clear about it. If someone enters the home and misbehaves with the wife, children, then ahimsa would be cowardice. One has to fight. Soldier cannot put down weapons in a war, nor a king can let criminals or neighboring kingdoms continue oppressing and attacking his subjects. So one has to be clear. See, this misunderstanding of ahimsa has costed us a lot. We would have become free much earlier from the British. You know, even before non-violence movement started, revolutionaries were active. Not only before 1857, not only at 1857, even before 1857, there have been people who have fought. One of the earliest fights for independence has been in Tamil Nadu. I forget the name of that woman. It starts with V. No, K. The queen's name starts with V, and then this woman is Kuili. Kuili is the first woman who tied in explosives on herself and went and blasted. So like what we call today suicide bomber. No? She went there and she blasted herself in that bhandar of explosives where you put that bombs and all that, ammunition there. Against the British there. She did, whole description comes of hers. 1857 War of Independence also happened. Chapekar brothers and all of them and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, late in the 1890s, in early 1910 and all those times, they were fighting. It's not that revolutionaries came much later. We have been taught very, concocted history. We are not taught proper history. Non-violence movement actually reduced, delayed our freedom. And we actually got freedom back because of Subhash Chandra Bose and the other revolutionaries. So we have to be clear. We can't let history repeat again. Now, as a spiritual seeker, also this is again very important. Why? Because even in ourselves, in our mind, we have to ruthlessly negate any thoughts which are violent. We can't say non-violence I will practice and all that. No, it has to be ruthlessly negated. And for that, whatever tapasya has to be done, has to be done. Some places, Gurudev would also say, if you read the book Hasten Slowly, that mind when it goes into a rut, you have to give it a certain shock treatment also, and like in winter if it is, take cold bath, absolutely. In those days it is like that. Today, deprive it of cell phone, that's all. That fellow will get suffocated like anything. If the mind goes into some negative rut and goes on indulging in some kind of vulgar thought, lusty thought, violent thought, agitation, something, it takes me away. Then you say, Acha, you don't want to do sadhana, you don't want to do this, chalo, aaj phone nahi milega. Or some people have that thing, no breakfast without morning prayers. Some people do like that. So sometimes the body gets used to, okay, no breakfast, chalega. But no phone, bolo, turant khana kha lega, turant prayer kar lega wo. So we have to adapt. Where the mind has to be threatened, it has to be threatened. Now you can't say, no, everything we will deal with gently, persuade the mind gently. The mind is like a child, and you can treat the mind like a child at a certain point. But if it has to be threatened, it has to be threatened. It can't be done. In Mahabharata, Udyog Parva, chapter 72, verse 18 says, the sin that is committed by killing one who does not deserve to be killed is as great as the sin of not killing the one who deserves to be killed. This is quoted by Gurudev even in the first chapter commentary, when Bhagwan is telling Arjun. Arjun is quoting to Bhagwan saying that ahimsa is the great dharma and all that. There Gurudev writes in his commentary this one. Even chapter 2 verse 33, he says, if you will not fight this righteous war, then having abandoned your own duty and fame, you shall incur sin. So this is clarity about violence and non-violence. If I am clear about this non-violence, at the physical level it is minimum himsa, at the mental level no himsa. Then you tell me, is there a choice between vegetarian and non-vegetarian then? I am not talking about places where there is no option available. I am talking about regular situation. Then can there be a choice or is it choiceless? Choiceless what? Correct. All of you agree? Correct. Both. No violence is choiceless. So, I mean, vegetarian is then choiceless? देखा अब डाउट आ गया सबको. Yeah, that way you make a choice, but technically actually there is no choice once I understand ahimsa, because there is no option. Matlab by default one has to be vegetarian. But it is interesting that people will keep saying, no, it's all one's choice, you can't say this is right or wrong, nothing is right or wrong. What nothing is right or wrong? Vegetarian may, when you have an option and you are choosing a non-vegetarian, it is wrong. But no, today people won't accept that. They will say this is hard line stand you are taking, you can't be so rigid, we have to be flexible, it is individual's choice. Very good, now I'll come and put one dagger at your throat, but it was my choice. Na? At that time you then tell me it is individual choice. So it doesn't work like that. And when people know, and the same people will be those who are, some of them will be climate change activists, okay? And they like chicken also. Absolute contradiction. Non-vegetarian industry is the second largest contributor to global warming. But how? Or climate change ka activism bhi karo. Absolute hypocrisy. See this video now. Very powerful.
Despite what you might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is.
So tell me, which one is the larger?
So,
how many for blue? 4. 4 for blue. 5 for blue. Blue, okay. How many for red? You can't have middle opinion, bhai. Oh, so you are saying this equal. देखो अभी देखो. देखो. Blue is wide and the other red is tall. प्रॉपर सर्कल है ना, एलिप्स थोड़ी है ये. Anyway, read, see, listen to it again.
please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. All right. Please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. All right, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Equal, right? Because they look equal. And the reason why they look equal is because, in fact, they are equal. These two circles are identical. Yet I got just about every one of you to raise your hand and say that they're not. So what did we learn? That you can be manipulated like that to believe in something that goes against your natural instincts. Just imagine as a child, you're taught that the blue circle is larger than the red. If you say it enough times, you convince yourself that's the truth. If you're told the lie enough times, it becomes part of your reality. And if enough people are taught that lie, that the blue circle is larger than the red, well, now it becomes part of the culture. And if that culture then passes that misinformation along to the next generation, well, now it becomes tradition. And what we have to remember is that just because we have a tradition doesn't mean it's morally acceptable. Tradition and morality are not always the same. I mean, can you think of any traditions that we once had in the United States of America that we no longer have? That today we think back and that was immoral? Slavery, right? Less than 200 years ago. And that was a tradition. So the traditions we have today doesn't necessarily mean they're morally acceptable. And as we evolve as a culture, so do our traditions. Now, the Matrix is a story. It's a story. When told enough times to enough people, it becomes part of that culture. It becomes the tradition. And this story is being told over and over every day. In fact, if you believe the image on the carton is where you're getting your milk from, you're deceiving yourself. This is a fantasy. It only exists in your head. It's a blue pill fed to you by the industry to get you to buy their product. This is the Matrix, the lie we tell ourselves about where our food is coming from. The reality is far more disturbing. 90 to 95% of the milk, the meat, and the eggs that we consume in the United States are coming from these conditions. In fact, every year in the United States, 10 billion, right? 10 billion are being slaughtered for food. So what that works out to be is that every second in the United States, 300 animals are killed, just like that. So 300, 600, 900, 1,200. By the time I'm done talking today, there'll be over 1 million animals that have been slaughtered. And most of us don't even blink an eye. I mean, how is it possible that in the United States of America, we can slaughter 300 animals every second and not question that because of the story we've been told? The story justifies the action. If you say it enough times, you actually convince yourself that's the truth. How many of you were taught as a child you need to eat meat to get protein? I know I was. How many of you were taught you need to drink cow's milk to get strong bones? Not dog milk, not chimpanzee milk, not elephant milk, not rhino milk, not hippo milk, not tiger milk, not lion milk, not giraffe milk, not elephant milk. Did I say that already? I think you get the point. Not even our own mother's milk, but we need to drink cow's milk to get strong bones. The absurdity of drinking the milk from any other species and any other being besides our own mother, when it's said enough times, loses its absurdness. Now, the first thing we've been taught is that our diet is natural. You know, we eat meat, dairy, and eggs, so therefore it must be natural. So let's find out. Now, you have two images on the wall. I want you to tell me all the thoughts that come to mind when you see the image on the left. And don't be afraid to scream out. What do you see? Fresh, yum, sweet, right? If I come into the room with a basket of strawberries, how many of your mouth starts to salivate? Your mouth starts to water? If I take a strawberry and I put it under your nose, what do you smell? If I take a knife and I slice that strawberry in half and put that under your nose, now what do you smell? Notice how all the sensations remain the same. You see a strawberry and it looks like a strawberry. You smell a strawberry and it smells like a strawberry. And you take a bite out of a strawberry and surprise, surprise, it tastes like a strawberry. Exactly, it's a strawberry. But what thoughts come to mind when you see the image on the right? Cute. You know, when I go to a classroom, you'll get half the kids who say, oh, cute. Animal, pig, Wilbur, babe. So half the class will see an animal, and the other half of the class will see bacon, sausage, ham, pig, sweet pork, and hot dog. They'll see a food. It's one or the other. You're either seeing an animal or you're seeing food. Now, what would happen if I took one of the pigs living, brought him into the room right here, and put him right in front of you? Does that change it? Now what do we see? And I mean, what would we think if one of us got up and started chewing on the pig? Not very normal. If I come into the room with a pig under my arm, how many of your mouth starts to salivate? Right? If I took a knife and I sliced that pig in half and put that under your nose, now what do you smell? You smell the stench of death. You smell a rotting corpse, bacteria, decomposing flesh. You see, there's a process involved, and I'm here today to show you that process of how you convert this animal into this product. Why should it be kept a secret? Why should we not know what we're participating in and what we're putting in our body? Now, let's make the situation slightly more realistic. If I were to put a pig on this side of the room living and a butcher's knife on the side of that room, I mean, how many people would be willing to pick up the knife and take the life of that animal? It's very rare, right? And if somebody did that, that's all right, but how many people in this room would try to stop that person from doing that, right? Would we try that? Of course. That's compassion. I mean, that is the greatest quality of the human race. There's no other species on this planet that has that level of compassion to extend to all living beings. But if you would stop somebody from killing a pig in front of you and then go home and have this for breakfast, well, that's called hypocrisy. You know, just because it comes in a nice, neat package all dressed up in your supermarket, just because you didn't take the knife and shove it through their jugular, just because you didn't get blood on your clothes, and just because you didn't hear their screams doesn't mean you didn't participate in the killing. Every time we buy this product, we are supporting somebody else doing what we ourselves wouldn't want to do, what we ourselves wouldn't want to see, and what we ourselves wouldn't want to hear. Now, if you still see bacon, sausage, and ham when I bring a pig into the room, what happens when I change it? Oh, right? It's the common response. Now, I've never heard anybody say yum. Nobody ever sees dog feet, hot dog. So why not? Why don't we see a food? We've been accustomed to view this animal as our pet. The cultural story for us is, this is your pet. In another culture, certain parts of the world, they eat cats and dogs. That's their culture. That's their story they've been told. And how do we feel about that? A lot of people think it's disgusting, right? I imagine every one of you probably thinks it's disgusting to eat a dog. Why would it be disgusting to eat this animal and not disgusting to eat this animal? Why would it be wrong to eat this animal and right to eat this animal? And most importantly, why would it be wrong to kill this animal and right to kill this animal? Culture. It's culture. It's the story. It's the matrix that we've been told. But culture is just a story. That's all it is. It's just make-believe. What I'm concerned with is what is natural to the human species. Because every culture has a different story. So let's take a 3-year-old from any country in the world, and you put that 3-year-old in a room, and you line up 5 animals in front of that 3-year-old. A pig, a dog, a cow, a cat, and a chicken. Do you think the 3-year-old is going to know which one to eat and which one to pet? What's the 3-year-old most likely going to do, or try to do? Play with them all. He's going to try to play with them all. The 3-year-old has to be taught, no, 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 no. Don't play with him. Eat him. Play with him. Pet him. That's what we were taught. We didn't choose our diet. Our diet is a learned behavior. We were raised to perceive this animal as your pet and this animal as your food. If you don't walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a dog's head, what would you do? You take action. At the very least, you'd call the police because you recognize that as a violation of this animal's right to be free from harm. Now, if you were to walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a pig's head, would your emotional response not be the exact same thing? Of course. Because the question for you is, what's the difference? What's the difference between the two? Right? Is there a difference? You might think one is cuter than the other, but that says more about you than anything about these two animals. You know, a lot of kids will say, well, the nose looks different. I say, but they both got a nose to smell. Some kids will say, well, he's got hooves and he's got paws. I say they both got feet to walk and run. Some kids say, well, his ears are going up and his ears are flappy. They both got 2 ears to hear. They both got 2 eyes to see. They both got a heart to beat and a mind to think. And the reason why we would take action for both of them is because we recognize the equality between them and not the difference. Any difference is insignificant. The similarities, though, are striking. We know they're equal, yet every time we sit down for a meal, we create that separation. We create that inequality.
See, this is how it is, no? It is just the story and how we are conditioning ourselves. So when we speak about non-vegetarian, ahimsa, one of the expressions of ahimsa is to choose a vegetarian diet, a plant-based diet, and even there, where we are able to choose such fruits, vegetables and things where the plant doesn't have to be fully uprooted, then that is another level of ahimsa, which is what the Jains do. They will say that don't eat the things which are growing on the below the ground. So the Jains came up with potato above the ground. Did I tell you that? I didn't tell you? That is what? Jain potatoes are those which are growing above the ground, on the tree. So you don't have to destroy the tree. You can just pluck. Yeah. Yeah. Find out, do research, मिल जाएगा आपको. Jain potatoes are there. Yeah. Which is, okay, good, na? Use innovation, technology to create what you want to eat, retaining the principles of ahimsa. Onion, carrot, beetroot, these things which grow below, the only way you can eat them is you have to uproot the whole thing. But the other things that will fall or you can pluck from the tree. So then you don't have to uproot it, destroy it. So the point is how much we are sensitive to the beings around us. One is law of karma itself. In Bhagavatam it comes that there was this king, Prachin Barhi, who was doing lots of rites and rituals, and in that he was doing animal sacrifices. Naradji comes to him and says that, why are you doing this? Do you know all those animals that you have killed, they are waiting up there for you to die. They will slaughter you out there when you go up. The point is, karmic bonds are created, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not. One. Two, we know spiritually speaking, the food that we eat, one part of it is what goes to make our mind. The subtle part of the food becomes the mind, gross part becomes the body, waste part will come out. So, when the animal is being killed, the emotions of fear, anxiety, that much of stress, everything is locked in the body of the animal also. And that animal's mind is going through so much, it will transfer on to human beings. So we have to understand all those things. So one expression of ahimsa is to choose a plant-based diet and eat as much sattvic food as possible, because then our contemplation also will be that much more steady.
Despite
Vegetarians are 40% less likely to develop cancer compared to meat eaters, says Harvard Medical Studies. अब जिसको साइंस चाहिए उनके लिए ये सब है, लेकिन ये सब जानने के बाद भी they will finally say it's a personal choice, you know. और इसके ऊपर अगर हम एक स्टैंड लेंगे तो they feel so offended. It's so terrific. Heart problems, obesity are also found more in non-vegetarians. Second largest source of global warming is non-vegetarian food. Water, amount of water that it requires. 20,940 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of meat. Just think. But only 503 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of wheat. A pure vegetarian diet requires only 1,137 liters of water per day, while a meat-based diet requires more than 15,160 liters of water per day. Where is the comparison? When we are saying save water, save the environment, etc., there is no comparison absolutely. The carbon footprint associated with non-vegetarians' diet is about twice the vegetarians' and vegans' diet. Global warming, climate change, etc. are impacted. Animal cruelty, biodiversity loss, global food insecurity, ecological imbalance, all these come from non-vegetarian choices. If one is really concerned about these, then one has to shift. So what are the other ways by which we can practice ahimsa? Each value we have seen how to practice. Amanitvam we saw, adamhitam we saw, ahimsa. First make vegetarian, and if you like then vegan choices. Do not hurt any living beings unless unavoidable, meaning for self-defense, accept that. Practice dhamma and sense control, meaning senses must be controlled. So much physical violence we'll end up doing. So don't hit anyone or be violent. Love and respect anyone so that mentally we are not injuring people. Criticize in a peaceful way, where we always say criticize the performance, encourage the performer. Don't criticize in a condemning way where the performer feels discouraged or insulted. Respect the differences of opinion. Avoid trolling, abusing. Today on social media, how much people do, what level of violence, and what kind of threats people are giving to each other. Especially women go through so much on the social media. It's too toxic in some of these situations. Speak the truth politely and for benefit. Do not gossip. Gossip is violence. If you want to tell somebody, tell it in front of them. What is the point gossiping about somebody? Ye to aisi hai, ye to waisa hai. Then you are deriving cheap pleasure out of criticizing somebody. There is no better standard for speech. Talk about projects, talk about ideas, talk about constructive things, talk about spirituality. So many nice things to talk. And if there is something I need to tell somebody, I should have the guts to go and tell to that person upfront. Why am I gossiping behind? People who have insecurity inside, they will sit and gossip. One is discussing, having a certain opinion on a certain thing, this person did right, or that decision was not correct, or that is a different point. Gossip is a completely different thing. One is just pulling down the opposite person and feeling some kick in that. That is violence. Use of position of authority or power should be done carefully. How many times people abuse this and then exploit other people? All that is violence. If you go very deep into it, if you see one of the lines that J. Krishnamurti said, he said, ambition is violence. In what context, that is important to understand. Ambition is violence, meaning where I am imposing my ambition on somebody, like parents impose their ambition on the children. Now the child is made for something else. Now they want the child to do what they wanted to do or they could not achieve. That is violence. They may not accept it, they may not agree it, but that is violence, because the child has come with his karma, has some other temperament, and one is simply enforcing. Or where I think that only when I get this particular goal, I am worthy enough. And if I don't, I am not worthy. Or that is imposed on somebody else. If my child comes first, then he is worthy, otherwise he is not. How many people grow up with such low self-confidence because of comparisons in the childhood and because of continuous taunt. तू तो ऐसा है, तू तो वैसा है, तुझसे कुछ नहीं होगा, you are a useless person. They go on doing that. That is all violence. So, ahimsa for a spiritual seeker is expressed through love, compassion, kindness, sensitivity, all that. So, 3 qualities: amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa. And how this will help in contemplation? The mind which has ahimsa is the mind which can steadily contemplate, because it's a sattvic mind. A mind which has hinsa in it cannot steadily contemplate. It will keep thinking about the other people. Dvesha will be there in the heart. One will have so much of ill feelings, negative thoughts, cunningness, manipulation. One can't meditate, one can't contemplate. That is not, spiritual life is not possible. Even if they sit to meditate, their mind will think of all the negative thoughts that are there in their mind. So, amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa. Now, if somebody does himsa against us or somebody hurts us, then what do we do? So the 4th quality is kshanti. Ksha, okay, not sha, not shanti. Kshanti. What is kshanti? Forgiveness. What is forgiveness? A little girl replied, it's the wonderful fruits that trees give us while we hurl sticks and stones at them. Nice, no? Gurudev used to say this. Forgiveness is a scent that the rose leaves on the heel that crushes it. Tulsi leaves on the very hand that crushes it. Sandalwood leaves on the very axe, sandalwood perfumes the very axe that cuts it. These are all beautiful quality of forgiveness. So the process of ceasing to feel resentment or anger towards the offender or the guilty, that is called forgiveness. Where I let go. And it happens, it has to be applied for both oneself as well as others. Because in life there will be things which I may do wrong, knowingly also, unknowingly also. I can't keep on hurting myself, remembering that. And there will be people who may hurt me also. Now I can't keep on holding on to that and then keep, feeling bad about it. If I have something inspiring to achieve in life, I have to keep moving on. I learn my lessons and move on. So, why is forgiveness required? When we forgive, there is immediate peace. Otherwise, day and night, who is getting disturbed? That person did what that person had to do. That person is sleeping happily. I am getting disturbed. So, the fire of revenge, anger, hatred, they will burn in my heart. They will destroy me. God gives and forgives, man gets and forgets. That is how man lives. Bhagwan goes on forgiving us for so many things. But we don't see that forgiveness of Bhagwan. We keep getting and we keep forgetting what Bhagwan has given to us, how Bhagwan forgives, and we keep repeating the same mistakes. The person hurt you once, for life you constantly hurt yourself by remembering it again and again. So many people don't forgive. Why? Because ego comes into play. I am talking right now about normal situations. It's not that always we have to forgive. There are certain situations where you don't. We'll come to that separately. But in regular situations, why do we not forgive? Because we feel if I forgive, this will happen to me again. Or if I forgive and I become normal or loving to them, then they will repeat this to me. That's what mind will think. And ego will come up saying, no, I will not forgive. Let that person pay the price of it. I will not be good to that person at all. It is over now. So forgiveness is not for the other person, but it is for ourselves. The person who did wrong is enjoying, but you are suffering. So forgiveness frees me. Why am I chained to the past? Forgiveness, if I don't do, I will be bound by the past only. When you are sorrowful, the other person has become successful. When you are not sorrowful, then they are surprised. No? Then by forgiving, actually, even if they wanted to hurt me, I have moved on. If I don't forgive, they have become successful. They wanted to disturb, they did it. Ho gaya na kaam. So one of the secrets of a long and fruitful life is to forgive everybody, everything, every night before you go to sleep. You sleep with a peaceful mind. We ask forgiveness in our culture, we ask forgiveness from Bhagwan only. Karacharana kritam va, kayajam karmajam va, shravana nayanajam va, manasam va paradham, vihitam avihitam va, sarvametad kshamasva. Bhagwan, please forgive everything. Knowingly, unknowingly, I may have done with my body, mind, speech, intellect, memory, my nature. Please, please help me. Why? Jaya Jaya Karunabdhi. You are an ocean of compassion. O Mahadev. Ask forgiveness. And obviously learn the lesson. Don't say कि चलो कल सुबह उठ के वापस नया violence करेंगे, फिर शाम को कराचरण कृतम वा कायजम कर्मजम वा. That will not work. हाँ, that people say मिच्छा में दुकड़म करके अगले दिन से वापस चालो. What is the point? And with all sincerity, they will write big, big messages, through whole year, knowingly, unknowingly, with this, that. If I have done this, then please, michhame dukram and all that. Which is good. If you have really that bhava and the intent and then you transform, superb. But again, next day, kai log aisa hi chalu kar dete hain wapas. And maximum violence happens where? In the closest of the relationships. People whom you love the most, so many times the maximum violence one is doing with them only. Taking them for granted, insulting them, being angry with them. That's where the love and compassion has to be. So, one nice thing is this, Kshama is the name of earth. Every day we are trampling upon earth. One of the names of earth is Kshama. She forgives. And that's why it is said in Ramayana that in quality of forgiveness, Bhagwan Ram is like the earth. Kshama shastram kare yasya durjana kim karishyati atrane patito vanhihi swayameva upashamyati. This is Vidurniti. What can the wicked do to the one who has the weapon of forgiveness? Fire that falls on grassless ground or the sand gets extinguished on its own. Now again remember, this is individually applicable and one has to lift oneself to that sattvic level, fill the heart with love and compassion, then this happens. Now this is what unnecessarily was applied at a collective level, saying ki, let the British come and do lathi charge on you and you don't retaliate and something will stir up in their mind, give the other cheek and all that. And they will also, their humanity will be invoked and all that. Arey bhai sahab. How many people got killed? And what non-violence? In World War I, 10 lakh Indian soldiers went. 1 million Indian soldiers went to fight the war. How many thousands died? And still freedom was not pressed for and asked for. And the worst part is he wanted to do the same thing for the Second World War. He send our Indian army and we should not trouble the British at the time when they are in need. And Subhash Chandra Bose said, ask them freedom now, and on that condition our people will go and fight. No, we should not take undue advantage of them. Arey, what level of delusion? And such people have been glorified in this country. Arey, how many people of your country have died? Whatever his contribution may be, we keep it at that level. We don't say anything more than that. But how to glorify that person and then to say that we got freedom बिना खड़ग बिना ढाल, वाह रे वाह, कितने लोग मर गए, उसका क्या? Think about that. So this has to be applied at proper level. You know, these are different levels in forgiveness. How does one forgive? At first level, one retaliates. In the beginning, if somebody hurts, one retaliates. I don't accept it, give back. So both fall at the same level. If they are hitting you under the belt, you also hit under the belt. Both fight, retaliate. Then you realize, no, this was not good. So then you forgive later. Second, you warn them and forgive once without retaliation. Don't do this. You show some display of strength also so that they don't come out and hurt you. Level 3, you forgive and forget out of reasoning. Even if somebody has hurt, you try to have some reasoning. This is the cause because of which they would have done this. Some misunderstanding, some ignorance, whatever it may be. Level 4, one forgives and forgets out of love. Okay, it's my own who has done it. Like Gurudev used to give that example, your own finger goes and pokes your eye. You see oneness, then you forgive, saying it's okay, leave. But level 5 is very important. You forgive inside, but you fight outside. Where it is required to fight injustice, you have to fight. But you have no dvesha inside. Bhagwan Ram did not have dvesha against Ravan. Vibhishan tells that I don't want to cremate him. Bhagwan convinces him saying that he died, with that your enmity should die and you should do your duty. No dvesh. So, Pandavas also are told to fight against the Kauravas. But Bhagwan says, Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Do because it is your duty, not out of dvesha. Why don't we forgive if countries attack us now? This is the point to understand. Where we said that every time forgive and forget does not work. So you must know when to sacrifice and when to fight. Bharat was given the kingdom because kingdom was in the safe hands. And there Bhagwan didn't fight Bharat, because Bharat came with the army actually to take Bhagwan back. And Lakshman wanted to fight actually, because he thought Bharat is coming to do violence. But Bhagwan says, no, he is not coming for that. He is calling me to come back. And so Bhagwan gave him the kingdom. But when it was Ravan, then what happened? Bhagwan fought. He has taken Sita ji away. He did not say that let Ravan take her. Kingdom was taken away from Bhagwan. He didn't fight for it. He says, no, Bharat should rule. I don't want to, because the word has been given by the father to the mother. But when it is Ravan, then he did not say let Ravan take her. Or, okay, there are so many women in the whole world, I will marry anybody else. अब मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? Violence is the best, non-violence is the best policy. अब एक औरत के लिए इतने सारे लोगों की जान क्यों दें? He could have said all that. The best part is that the person who did all this in our country, his Ishtadevata is Ram. And he was reading the Gita daily. Kamal hai. I don't understand how much this confusion can be and how our country people can get confused completely on this. It is so strange. Anyway, so Ramji fought with Ravan but had no hatred towards Ravan. Now, even in this, there is a limit sometimes. That is taught to us by Krishna Bhagavan. 100 insults Bhagavan waited for. And when 100 insults were over, straight Sudarshan Chakra went, Shishupal was killed. These are examples that we have. It is not some unconditional level of forgiveness कि तुम मारते जाओ और हम सहते जाएंगे. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. And so many factors have to be taken into consideration. So these are different levels of forgiveness. The highest level of forgiveness is what? Again, this is at a spiritual level. The 6th level now that we are going to see is you don't even take the offense. Eknath Maharaj did not take the offense. 100 plus times this person came and spat on him. He didn't take the offense only. Jesus Christ, what does he say? Forgive them for they know not what they do. But again, that is born out of a sense of oneness. That must be very clear. And it can be applicable at an individual's level sometimes, but it is not necessary. It will always be applicable at collective level. If one has to fight it out, one has to fight it out. So, how to forgive now? Forgiveness is at 2 levels. First, I need to learn to forgive myself if I have done something wrong, or if I have hurt somebody, or I have done something which has caused harm knowingly or unknowingly to people. Then, first is accept responsibility for the action, saying it is my fault. Yes, I did it. Don't run away from it. Don't justify saying कि ये मेरे position maybe somebody else would have done the same thing. In fact, they would have done worst. I was still better. Accept that it was wrong. This behavior was not correct. Then you may feel guilt after that. So, it is my fault, but I have to move on. That guilt is necessary, but one should not remain in guilt. That guilt will make me realize the wrong that I have done as well as help me to prevent it for future. But I have to do that. I have to get out of it by making amendments. Go and say sorry or make up for it or do whatever can be done. If one has to go and meet that person and do it, do it. If that is not possible, sometimes the person has gone away or passed on or something, then do it in the mind, sincerely. And then focus on what have I learned and how have I grown in this experience. Don't condemn oneself saying, ki, what a dumb fool I am, how could I do this, this should not have happened. And people beat themselves up for it whole life. If I have learnt my lesson and I have moved on, that is all the spiritual seeker has to do. There is no point in being stuck to the past, however terrible that deed may be. In the Gita, Bhagavan says or not. In the 9th chapter, we saw that. Api chet suduracharaha bhajate mam ananya bhak. If a person has taken that single-pointed resolve to transform, then Bhagavan says sadhurevasa mantavyaha. That person has to be considered as good. Why? Samyak vyavasito hisa. Because that person has taken the right resolve. Ki I don't want to repeat this, and now I have learnt my lesson and I am now transformed. Use the mic.
What if we think of the other person in that way? Like, if in their position I would be, then they're doing right. Sometimes we think, na, like, however bad they are behaving, it's okay because it's understood. So, is it right or wrong?
So, if somebody is behaving badly towards me and I think that what they are doing is right is for my good, and so I let go. That's what you are saying.
No.
Then?
You find reasons that it's okay. They don't have that understanding, or they are in their immature phase or whatever. Like you always give reasons
Yeah,
why
so
they're
that is what we said is this level of forgiveness, now where we said you forgive out of reasoning.
yeah.
Because you are then trying to reason out कि okay they didn't understand, बच्चे हैं या immature है, they did it just out of ignorance or some insecurity they have. So there you are giving some reasoning and you are forgiving, but you have to communicate and tell them this is not right. If you don't inform also, sometimes if they are really ignorant and they are hurting you, but they don't know that they are hurting you, then they'll keep hurting. So then you have to communicate and make them aware that this is hurting and this is not right and please stop.
Just one point that came, like forgive yourself. So how hope giving, no, our culture is, because here we are not labeled. It's not a morbid culture where you are the sinner, and
Yeah. There is no eternal damnation here and there is nobody who has to be forever be punished. There is nothing that I cannot come out of having done negatively. Because my nature is not negativity, my nature is Anand Swarup. And of course that doesn't give a justification कि then I can do anything and say कि मेरा nature तो Anand Swarup है, so I will come out of it all. Obviously that cannot happen. Law of karma is in place. You do wrong, you will get the effect of it 100%. So now, if I have understood that, then how do I forgive others? Trust the law of karma. To mete out justice is not our job. Bhagwan will take care of it. How many times we don't forgive because we say that this person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. Isko पाठ पढ़ाना पड़ेगा. If it is your duty, you have to do like Kshatriya has to do with this war and all that, then that's a different matter. But why are you having dvesha against somebody and going on building it? It will create negative karma for you. So Vedanta says you don't have to take up that onus of doing justice. Write down everything about your hurt, crush the paper, burn it, you feel it while you write it, and you free yourself from victim mode. There are different ways to let go of it. In some other time you go, like some people now who went to Kumbh. So you go to Kumbh, you do the snan and you say, I drop this particular negativity, I am freed of it, oh Mother Ganga, you take this away. So learn to drop a behavior which is negative, which is hurtful, or where I have done something wrong and I am holding on to it, leave it. Think of it from their standpoint. Kshama comes from large-heartedness. Empathy if I invoke. And visualize forgiving and loving interaction. Don't visualize reactions, anger, giving back, hitting back, violence. Many people will visualize that. Next time I meet this person, I'm going to give my peace of mind. बहुत हो गया अभी. Next time when will they meet? After maybe 5 years. But ये 5 साल तक उसके दिमाग में पका रहे हैं पुलाव. Next time, next time, next time, next time. अरे भाई, why are you visualizing that much? Wasting so much of time, energy, everything. So visualize forgiving. Subconscious mind needs to be addressed through auto-suggestion. I forgive you, I am at peace. Then it will happen in the conscious level also. See, this is no doubt easier said than done. But the point is, there is no choice again in this. If I want to become free, I have to forgive. Then comes arjavam, straightforwardness. Straightforwardness means what? Simplicity and straightforwardness. No cunningness and manipulation in the head. You tell what is the thing inside. Of course, use your discretion whom to say what. Everything you can't tell everybody. But many people have this, malice, cunningness, and that they have internalized. So they will think something else, talk something else, and one can't understand only. Okay, what? Because the behavior of this person and the words of this person are not matching. So here, integrity of thought, word and deed. Vibhishan and Mandodari, both of them they advise Ravan. And this Ravan is so cunning, he does not listen to any of them. Vibhishan ji, he did not hide. People of his court, Ravan's court, so many of them are flatterers only. They will tell Ravan what he wants to hear, what will please him. But deep inside their heart, they know also that what advice they are giving is false. It is not even true. But they will glorify him. So it's very important that there is straightforwardness. Many people confuse straightforwardness with the, the thinking that if I am straightforward, I can't be successful. People will take me for granted. I am making my cards visible to everybody. But the cunning, manipulative person is retaining their cards. And today in the world, Swamiji, this is Kali Yuga. Kali means cunning. And in Kali Yuga, cunningness is the norm. If you want to be successful, you have to be cunning. Try, be cunning, be successful, pay the price for it. Universal laws will not spare. How many people today, young people, they don't want to get into the corporate world. One of the challenges there is this. Because they will feel that. Literally they feel saying, no, I am not made for this. Because you want to climb up the ladder, then you have to do cunningness, manipulation, flattery, this, that, and then you get exploited, whatever. Then, so they are opting out of it. Some of them helpless, they are still being in it, but getting worried, getting stressed, anxious, lot of difficulties. It can apply in many places. Cunningness, manipulation, anywhere you see, sports, education, law, anywhere. So many problems will come because straightforwardness is not there. Transparency is not there. Relationship may trust we can build only when there is straightforwardness. If transparency and straightforwardness is not there, trust can't be built. And today that is such a big deficit. People don't trust people. Why people can't trust people? One of the reasons will be this, ये बोल तो रहे हैं but पता नहीं करेंगे क्या. That is what it is. So many people will give lip service. Arjun, one of the qualities of Arjun is this, straightforward. And person who is straightforward will get the knowledge. Duryodhan did not get the knowledge. Dhritarashtra did not get the knowledge. Arjun got the knowledge. Why? Because he confessed in front of Bhagwan that this is my problem, I am facing this, please help me. A straightforward person will be like that. Choose the right person and go and ask what needs to be asked. Otherwise, what happens? And the mind of a straightforward person is very free. A mind of a manipulative, cunning person is not at all free for higher things. Why? Because it is caught in its own cunningness and manipulation. And most important is, the mind of a cunning person is insecure. Because one knows finally that if I am being cunning to others, maybe they are also being cunning to me. So one goes on doubting. Being cautious is a different thing, but go on doubting. That's why I said trust is not there. They don't trust people, people don't trust them. That fuels insecurity like anything. So, for a spiritual seeker, straightforwardness is very, very important. And discretion, of course, with whom to share what. That one has to use. So, this is Arjavam. So, think and speak the truth. How to practice? Intention should be noble. Keep up your word. If you say, I will deliver this or I will do this, then do it. Keep up that word. Don't say something, do something else, and then not even give explanation, and then later on do some justification. All that is too much manipulation. And honor your commitment. Bhagwan went, no? He could have easily come back to Ayodhya when everybody is calling him. But he said no. The word will be complete only when it is followed to its totality. 14 years I have to be in forest and Bharat has to be the king. And Dashrath Maharaj at the end of Valmiki Ramayana, you see in the Yuddha Kand it comes, no? Dashrath Maharaj comes at the end of 14 years and he tells Ramji that now that 14 years are over, you have fulfilled the promise I have given to Kaikeyi. Now I am satisfied, and he ascends to heaven. Which means the word has its power and impact. So, this is Arjavam. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because this starts the next one, which is Acharya Upasanam. That we will take up in our next class. It was on, right, throughout? Okay, so our Mukhya Yajmans for all the sessions, Tarana Khubchandani ji, Parag Wagh, Vandana Jagwani ji, Bharat Khanna ji, Kalpana Morparia ji, and Deepika Bakshi ji. So Kalpana ji, you can come do the Aarti also today. Our Gita Aarti Yajman for all sessions, Hemant Kumar Ruya ji, Jyotsna ji, Chitra ji, Ajay Kasotia ji, Rajan ji, Ajay Merchant ji, Swati Chavan, Nalini ji, Jayashri ji, Nandita ji, Vaishali ji, Vijaya ji, Deepti ji, and Manjari Parekh ji. Today's Dainik Yajman, Deepak Desai ji and Meenakshi ji, then Nihar Oza and Vishal Dhawan, Shalini Dhawan. And today's Aarti Yajman is Lata Shri. So we invoke Bhagwan's grace, Gurudev's blessings on the Yajmans, their families, and everyone present here. May Bhagwan bless us with these beautiful qualities of Amanitvam, Adambhitvam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, and Arjavam. May our mind find peace, and may we contemplate steadily and discover the self. Om Tat Sat.
जय
भगवत गीते मैया जय भगवत गीते हरि कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवत गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी कामासक्ति हरा तत्व ज्ञान विकासिनी विद्या ब्रह्म परा मैया जया भगवत गीते निश्चल भक्ति विधायिनी निर्मल मलहारी शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी सब विधि सुखकारी मैया जय भगवत गीते राग द्वेष विदारिणी कारिणी मोद सदा भव भयहारिणी तारिणी परमानंद प्रदा ओम जय भगवत गीते आसुर भाव विनाशिनी नाशिनी तमरजनी दैवी सद्गुणदायिनी हरि रसिका सजनी ओम जय भगवत गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरि मुख की वाणी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ओम जय भगवत गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय हरि पद प्रेम दान कर अपनो कर लीजिए ओम जय भगवत गीते ओम जय भगवत गीते
चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति।
बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। बोलो गीता मैया की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय
पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।